U.S. President Donald Trump weighs in on China using force against Taiwan.
I don't see that at all with President Xi. I think we're going to get along very well as it pertains to Taiwan and
What will Taiwan's relationship be with Japan's new prime minister? Taiwan's National Palace Museum steps up security following a major heist at the Louvre. Plus,
does have this cascading impact where one system goes down, then another, and then suddenly half the internet is gone.
Questions arise as thousands of companies using Amazon Web Services experience outages. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. U.S. President Donald Trump has made some significant comments about Taiwan, appearing to downplay the risk of a Chinese invasion and suggesting he may discuss Taiwan with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Cadence Quaranta has more.
U.S. President Donald Trump is asked by a reporter about the likelihood of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. In response, he says something striking.
China doesn't want to do that. First of all, the United States is the strongest military power in the world by far. It's not even close. Not even close. We have the best equipment. We have the best of everything, and nobody's going to mess with that. And I don't see that at all with President Xi. I think we're going to get along very well as it pertains to Taiwan and others.
Trump was speaking at a meeting with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. His comments come as China has been stepping up efforts to intimidate and influence Taiwan. China considers the country part of its territory and has not ruled out the use of force to take control of it. Trump has also indicated he may discuss Taiwan with Chinese President Xi Jinping later next week, when the two are expected to meet on the sidelines of APEC in South Korea. Trump has indicated his priority is reaching a, quote, fair trade deal with China. Asked whether the U.S. would consider adjusting its position on Taiwan independence to reach such a deal, Trump said, quote, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. I assume that will be one of them. In response, Taiwan officials have appeared to try to reassure that U.S. support for Taiwan is stable, with its foreign ministry saying this.
其实从川普政府上任以来，已经多次明确地重申对于台湾的支持，以及美国长期的一贯政策。外交部这边会持续密切地关注各项相关的发展，并且跟美方保持沟通，以确保台美的关系持续稳定的深化，以及对我们的利益能够获得确实的保障。
And its premier, pressed by legislators, says he remains hopeful about any discussion of Taiwan between Trump and Xi.
那台湾跟美国同样站在世界 AI 关键领先地位这个角色，不论是台湾协助美国，或是台湾一起跟美国一起再壮大起来。我希望，我也相信，川普总统即使跟习主席在见面的时候，应该站在美国、台湾跟世界共同利益的角度上。
One expert also said he doesn't believe Trump will make any concessions on Taiwan during the meeting.
Donald Trump has a nose for power, and he has an instinct for power, and he doesn't like to be the least powerful person in the room. He wants to be the most powerful person in any room. And so for this reason, I don't see him as making concessions that he feels fundamentally endanger his position or that of the United States.
All this comes as some have raised questions about Trump's commitment to Taiwan. The Trump administration has several times appeared to undercut its relations with Taiwan amid trade talks with China. And there have been reports that Beijing has repeatedly pressed Trump to declare that the U.S. opposes Taiwan independence. For now, Taiwan will be waiting to see what comes out of the expected Trump-Xi meeting and what it could mean for its security and its future. Chris Ma and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
A public opinion poll shows most Taiwanese believe U.S. President Donald Trump has the ability to prevent a Chinese invasion, but not the willingness. The poll conducted by the Taiwanese Public Opinion Foundation found that nearly half of respondents believe Trump could stop China from attacking Taiwan, but only 34% think he's willing to do so. The survey was conducted after the Israel-Hamas ceasefire and comes amid debate over Trump's commitment to defending Taiwan. At a conference on U.S.-China competition, the head of the National Security Council sounded the alarm over China's gray zone tactics towards Taiwan.
The PRC has also engaged in hybrid warfare on Taiwan, and we are a test ground for China's warfare, including cyber attacks, disinformation campaign, cognitive warfare, and infiltration. Please allow me to be straightforward. Taiwan is determined to defend itself.
Wu said that China's aggressive actions, including cutting submarine cables, putting pressure on outlying islands, and militarizing the South China Sea, should instead be called ICAD, or illegal, coercive, aggressive, and deceptive tactics. Taiwan would continue to be a responsible member of the Indo-Pacific, Wu said, adding that the country is, quote, determined to defend itself. Jamestown Foundation President Peter Mattis, who was also at the conference, says gray zone tactics must be taken seriously.
So that's what's really dangerous about those things, is that it's lulling us into a complacency about what's normal, and then it's hiding what could be very serious activity, whether it's a blockade or invasion, in this new normal, if you will.
Wu and Mattis both highlighted Taiwan's improvements in responding to China's gray zone tactics, including President Lai Ching-te's planned defense budget boost and recent military exercises. Takaichi Sanae is set to become Japan's next prime minister after a vote in Japan's legislature. Takaichi is the first woman to lead Japan. She is known for her conservative politics and admiration for the late UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. She is also known for her friendly stance towards Taiwan. Earlier this year, she led a delegation to meet with President Lai Ching-te. She now faces the challenge of rebuilding public trust in her Liberal Democratic Party after an electoral defeat this summer. For a look at what Takaichi Sanae's premiership means for Japan and the region, John Van Triest spoke to Professor Takaichi Sanae, a Japan politics expert at Dankang University.
What do you see as the significance of Takaichi Sanae's selection as Japan's next prime minister? And what does it say about Japan's political direction?
日本这么多年以来，第一位出现女首相的话，是日本很大的一种改变。那如果说从政治方向去做一个解释的话，因为我们看到Takaichi Sanae的话，他是走安倍派，而且他是走保守派。只是说过去我们会认为他是不是过度保守，会对他有一点谨慎。那他在竞选的时候，他有讲我是稳健保守，不是过度保守，所以他的方向有一点调过来的情况。
Where does Takaichi stand on Taiwan?
过去的话，因为国民党他比较谨慎或是比较亲中，自民党一直没有办法去推动，所以国民党离了之后，换来一个日本维新会，然后高市旁边的人基本上都来过台湾，高市来过台湾，他也去见过我们的赖总统，所以日本的媒体的话也是都报道他跟赖总统见面这一个画面，所以他亲台，这已经是。就是不用话说，所以高市特别在军事安全保障上面的话，他跟台湾基本上就都是站在一块的。
How do you think her friendship with Taiwan could impact Japan's relationship with China?
中国现在经济并没有说像以前一直往上跑，一直往上跑，而且面临跟川普的关税的一个冲击，所以他也不想说同时面对中国，面对日本，又面对美国，他在经济上面应该不会抓得很紧。可是从军事上面来讲的话，并不是说因为高市的一个态度让他比较亲台，而是说中国的军事方面，它成长得太快了。他军事力量成长得太厉害了。
Now, ever since Abe Shinzo, Japan's had a pretty regular turnover rate in terms of prime ministers. What challenges do you think Takaichi faces holding on to power once she's in office?
战后平均一代只有1.4多年，因为他们是内阁制。那内阁制的话，很快就是支持率，如果看到二字头就必须要下台。所以高市上来之后，他面临的问题会跟石破大致相同，也就是说，因为你是少数的执政党。
That was Professor Takaichi Sanae of Dankang University. Following the election results in Japan, President Lai Ching-te and other top officials have congratulated Takaichi on her win. An international group of 11 companies has pledged to invest more than $1.5 billion in new Taiwan projects, signing letters of intent or LOIs.
Today, we're going to sign 11 LOI with international enterprises from around the world. Their projects demonstrate strong confidence in Taiwan's outlook.
The companies include Corning, Coupang, and Panasonic. The letters were presented at Taiwan's Business Alliance Conference in Taipei. Officials say the total investment drawn by the event, including the LOIs, exceeds $5 billion. The new investments come as Taiwan is experiencing an economic boom rooted in AI chip and data center build-out. The International Monetary Fund recently upgraded its forecast for Taiwan's 2025 economic growth to 3.7%. Taiwan's National Palace Museum, which holds some of the nation's most valuable treasures, is beefing up its security measures. It comes as authorities in France investigate a robbery in which several of that country's priceless crown jewels were stolen. Sandy Chi reports.
Regular searches for explosives are part of daily security routines at Taiwan's National Palace Museum. The museum has recently tightened its security measures. That's after thieves stole several priceless items from the Louvre Museum in Paris on Sunday. Using an extendable ladder and other basic tools, the burglars took less than 10 minutes to nab 8 pieces, including a jeweled headband, necklaces, and earrings. The heist marks the 4th French museum robbery in 2 months, and it's got museum administrators here in Taiwan nervous.
那这对故宫来讲是非常不可思议。那我们在深入了解他们那一种盗取的方式，我觉得那好像是电影情节一样。那我们在归纳所谓的博物馆保全这么严谨的一种系统下呢，这是一种非典型的。那所谓非典型，就是说以前从来没有发生过。
But the National Palace Museum says it would be impossible for someone to break into its building using the same method.
他们的防备、他们的设施，包括他们从外墙进入用升降机施工的这种状况，在故宫是不可能发生的，因为故宫在户外、室内都有非常严谨的监视系统。我们有24小时的监视。
The museum also has its own canine unit, which started in 1985. The team includes 4 dogs and their handlers.
平常日常的话，我们会有早上一次巡逻，下午一次巡逻，但是就看当天的人力的安排。巡逻的人就去巡逻，那剩下的人我们就是会做那个爆裂物的搜索的训练这样子。那它一般我们是以置物柜这边。置物区来做训练，这样。
To make sure the museum's treasures are secure, the facility holds regular drills.
其实故宫我们1年大概有3到4次演练，包括地震，还有火灾，还有其他的防备，包括恐怖分子或者防止某一些爆裂物等等，这些我们每年几乎都会做。
The museum also plans to conduct intrusion simulation drills based on the Louvre case in the near future, testing how its security systems can hold up under real-world scenarios. Joseph Wu and Takaichi for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up after the break, a Taiwanese queen takes the stage at a transgender beauty pageant.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
Wow, this is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?
很深的话，你发现说我们大部分都是爱美的。
我自己少遇见一朵花，我可能就不是这个样子。
开始思考什么叫做一个本土性，
大声的唱出来说我是台湾人。
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is on a mission to make sure the October 10th ceasefire in Gaza holds. But with deadly flare-ups of violence and Hamas's reluctance to disarm and hand over control of Gaza, a lasting peace could be elusive. John Van Trieste reports.
Why are you coming to Israel?
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is headed to Israel. His mission, to shore up a ceasefire in the Gaza war. The return of peace after 2 years of fighting in Gaza is a project U.S. President Donald Trump has pushed hard for. But an October 10th ceasefire has fallen apart more than once, with both sides accusing the other of violations. Gazan officials say at least 97 Palestinians have been killed since the ceasefire took effect. Flare-up Sunday saw 2 Israeli soldiers and 28 people in Gaza killed. Some Gazans who've lost relatives say they have no faith in the truce.
It is all lies. There is none of it. This is the ceasefire, as you can see. There are some people under the rubble. Those we could bring out are here, but others are still under the rubble.
We are defenseless people. They said there was a truce, that we were included in it, that this was a safe space, and there is a truce. But this enemy has no commitment. This army, you cannot hold it to anything.
One issue is the so-called yellow line, beyond which Israeli forces have withdrawn. Gazans say, with just a few physical markers only now being put in place, it's hard to tell just by looking on a map where the line actually is. But Israel says there have been Palestinian attempts to breach it. Still, none of this has stopped efforts, especially from the U.S., to keep the ceasefire on track. Vance is slated to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as part of the U.S.'s diplomatic efforts.
We'll discuss 2 issues, mainly 2 issues, about the security challenges we are facing and about the political opportunities we are facing. We'll overcome the challenges and we'll realize the opportunities.
And on the ground, there are signs of progress towards peace. On Monday night, Israel retrieved the body said to be of one of the hostages Hamas took in 2023. Israel says that leaves 15 dead hostages in Gaza, 13 Israeli and 2 foreign. In Gaza, aid trucks sent to ease the humanitarian disaster of the past 2 years began to flow in once more on Monday, after the flare-ups of violence led Israel to block them. It may not be enough to stop the suffering in Gaza, but the UN is pleased there's at least some help on the way.
Over the weekend, we and our partners continued to collect aid from the Karim Shalom Kesufim crossings. This included postpartum hygiene kits, medical supplies, fuel, food, and water.
Even with peace apparently back, there are questions about how far Trump's plan will get off the ground. This is just stage 1. Trump's ultimate goal is to disarm Hamas and turn Gaza over to an international force. Hamas, though, is resisting disarmament and rejecting any foreign administration in Gaza. Trump says he isn't going to give Hamas a choice.
We made a deal with Hamas that, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to. They'll be eradicated, and they know that.
He says U.S. troops wouldn't be on the ground, but he says Israel would, quote, go in 2 minutes if he asked. It's barely 2 weeks since the ceasefire took effect, and peace in Gaza is far from guaranteed. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
The U.S. and Australia have agreed to invest over $2 billion in a rare earths deal aimed at reducing reliance on China. The deal targets critical minerals like lithium and nickel, essential for electric vehicle batteries, aircraft engines, military radars, and advanced electronics. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese signed the agreement with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Each country will invest about $1 billion over the next 6 months to boost mining and processing of these strategic materials. Thousands of online services were disrupted on Monday after Amazon Web Services, a hosting platform with millions of clients, suffered a massive outage. From online banking to apps to order coffee, a third of the internet came to a standstill on Monday, as millions of users reported issues accessing a wide range of services and websites they've come to rely on. At the heart of the outage is tech giant Amazon, specifically its subsidiary Amazon Web Services. It provides hosting for other internet services. This allows Amazon's clients to forego building and maintaining their own net infrastructure. AWS holds the biggest market share among competitors. That means a lot of internet runs on the company's servers.
Frankly, lots of apps and services nowadays are global, so while you may be logging on to a website or an app or a service from the UK, there might be a component of that app which is based in the United States, which relies on that AWS US East server.
Amazon says the outage came down to something called DNS, or the Domain Name System. Every time you click a link, the DNS converts the link into a series of numbers that helps navigate users through the internet. Amazon says the issue has been fixed. Few suspect that malicious activity was involved.
But when there's an outage, it cascades, and then the company starts to rebuild and you see things being restored and being improved, that's usually indicative of something that does not have a cybersecurity component to it.
But the incident has brought up questions about Amazon's dominance in the field and how one tech hiccup at a single company can impact millions of internet users.
These things are often perfectly running and absolutely fine. They have, 99.99999% uptime. So the unfortunate thing is when this does happen infrequently, because these individual companies are so large and have such a big share of the market, it does have this cascading impact where one system goes down, then another, and then suddenly half the internet is gone.
For the most part, the internet is back up and running. But this incident shows that for how massive the internet is, it can be shockingly fragile. Alex Chen and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus. TaiwanPlus was among the thousands of applications affected by the AWS outage on Monday. October is when Taiwan celebrates LGBTQ+ pride. This year, a Taiwanese transgender drag queen has won praise for her representation of Taiwanese culture at Miss International Queen in Thailand. Irene Lin has more.
With sharp eyes and firm steps, Tiffany Queen, or Zhen Youyun, knows how to strike a pose. Recently, she represented Taiwan in the world's largest transgender beauty pageant, Miss International Queen in Thailand. It's her first international contest, where she took the spotlight with her handmade costume. She was inspired by traditional Taiwanese temple deity Guanjiang Shou, a guardian who drives away evil spirits.
毕竟我还属于那种个性算是比较叛逆、英雄派的角色。我当初穿上去那种感觉，让我好像被附身的感觉。我回头看一下影片，我自己也吓到，说真的是就是我。刚好我穿这套衣服，刚好帮我自己清一些不干净的东西，往我的梦想之旅朝进这样子。
As a drag performer with a decade of experience, she's no stranger to the limelight and cameras. But she said being in a beauty pageant brought new challenges, including looking perfect at all times. In the past half year, she devoted all her time to trying different makeup and learning how to walk in pageant style. Although the crown slipped through her fingers, she said it was still a rewarding experience that also made her childhood dream come true.
我会多看一些选美的影片啊，平常他们讲话的方式啊、眼神啊，怎么看镜头。 我很感动，对我很觉得，为了自己感到还蛮骄傲的，对，可以代表台湾去参赛比赛这样子，我也没有想过，对我只是就是可能小时候跟朋友说，我很想去 Tiffany 秀里面表演，我很想去站这个舞台，可是没想到真的是去了。
Tiffany was among 23 transgender women competing in the global event. She says she's learned different facets of being a woman from her counterparts from around the world, and it's got her to reflect and accept her qualities better. And while changing her body and appearance has helped her career grow, she says she's always been confidently herself from a young age.
我没有跟家里说我是想要当女生，还只是我从小一路走来就是很喜欢跟女生玩在一起啊。我觉得家人多多少少都会看得出来啦，只是没有讲而已。当然是一样勇敢是会有啦，对，一路过程一定是会有的，只是看你怎么去面对这些东西。我比较会坚强或者是勇敢一点点，我很做自己，所以这个东西是我小时候就这样子的。
While there was still pressure to win, dozens of her supporters from Taiwan and Hong Kong travel all the way to Pattaya to celebrate Tiffany achieving her dream, together with her makeup artist and hairstylist.
其实这个比赛有点像是我们3个人的里程碑，我们3个人一起去比这个比赛，所以其实甚至到比赛的决赛的当天，他的加油团还会帮我跟发型师一起加油，就有喊我们的名字，这样就觉得哇，就是有一种一体的感觉，那种感觉真的蛮感动的。对，因为毕竟是在异乡。
With the annual Pride Parade in Taipei coming up, Tiffany will get back on stage soon to speak up for her community and continue to pave the way for more Taiwanese queens on their way to the international stage. Patrick Chen and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Taiwan Plus News. You can visit the Taiwan Plus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we take a look at the colorful fireworks celebrating Diwali in India, the Hindu festival of lights. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.